Namaste. Welcome to another episode of Ask the Professor with yours truly, Professor Marty. Today, we're going to address the topic of how the Earth was formed and the history of Earth. Because apparently, it's a very heated topic up on the internet, and you guys all want to know, so I'm going to be sharing my expertise with you guys. But first, let's go ask the average American how they think the Earth was formed and whatnot.
How was the Earth formed?
God created the Earth and the rest of the world. All around, everywhere. I mean, how else do you think we're here?
How was the Earth formed?
Well, there was a rock, and then there was water on that rock, and the earth, and then there was clouds, and then there was...
Alright, stop. I can't listen to these idiots anymore. Here's how the Earth was actually formed. The Earth was formed 4.5 billion years ago due to the accretion of solar particles, which, as depicted here, means all these little particles started colliding and sticking to one another to form one big particle, that is the Earth. Next question. At DJ Polly B asks, how was the Earth like when it first formed? Good question, DJ Polly. Well, as I said earlier, the Earth was formed due to the accretion of solar particles and rocks. So basically, these high-speed rocks would come colliding with Earth due to the attraction of gravity, making it very hot. So, in other words, the Earth was just a giant sea of molten rock. Okay, next question. At Javarson Lamar asks, how did the Earth first get water? That's a great question. I'm going to send it over to one of my experts in the air and water department.
Smarty. There's two main hypotheses how the Earth got water. The first is after the Earth cooled, comets and water-enriched meteorites continually hit the Earth, bringing small amounts of water that eventually added up. The second hypothesis is that, like after the Earth cooled, hydrogen was allowed to stay in the atmosphere longer, so it would be able to form with oxygen, forming H2O, better known as water.
Okay, next we got a multi-part question here. At Devoyne Shower Handle asks, what is life? When did we first see the signs of life, and what was it? Well, first of all, Mr. Shower Handle, if it wasn't obvious, ball is life. Alright? But if you're so eager to find out, let's send it over to another expert of mine in the life department.
Thank you, Professor. Besides from ball is life must also have these 6 characteristics. It must have a specific order and structure. It must be able to reproduce sexually or asexually, grow and develop throughout time, utilize energy from its environment, respond to stimuli, and evolve over time to adapt to its surroundings. The first signs of life were 3.5 billion years ago, and we know this because of fossilized records of archaea and bacteria, which are microscopic organisms that make up 2 of the 3 branches on the geological tree of life.
Alright folks, final question of the day. At the Shactus asks, how did Earth's atmosphere change over time to support life? Great question, Shaq. I'm going to send it back over to the air and water expert to answer this question.
Thanks again, Marty. The early Earth didn't even have an atmosphere. The first atmosphere was formed from outgassing by volcanoes. But that atmosphere is nothing like the one we have today, where life flourishes. The early atmosphere was mostly comprised of CO2. But when life began to form, photosynthesis started to occur, which turned that CO2 into oxygen, which supports the life we have today.
Garrett, I have no idea what that guy was doing in the background. Anyway, that's all the time we have for this episode of Ask the Professor. I'd like to thank my experts and my cameraman for making me look so pretty and smart. And so, adios. This is Spanish for sayonara for all you degenerate folk. Peace.